Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Secrets in Medical Device Sales, brought to you by the Girls of Grit. Today, we have another awesome, fiery spotlight series coming at you guys. And Cindy and I are so excited for this one, y'all.
Oh, yes, we are.
And by the way, he's such a cutie. I'm so excited. He's
Yes.
young, he's vibrant.
Tune into video.
Watch us on YouTube. You guys, we are so excited to have Avery Lanman join us today. He is an awesome, inspiring medical device sales rep. He owns his own distributorship. And oh, by the way, every post he puts out there on LinkedIn literally goes viral, you guys. I mean, the guy could write a freaking movie out of all the LinkedIn posts, which, by the way, you probably should. And, you know, the graphics are just as cool. But that's really what drew us in on this one with Avery. Was he had a couple of really awesome posts, and one of them really touched our hearts. And both Cindy and I, after reading it, thought, you know what? We're going to have him on the podcast so we can talk to him.
I know. So everybody's going to get to hear that post in a little bit. But Avery, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself so our listeners can know who you are?
Thank you so much for having me. It's an incredible honor, and it's great to finally put a face to the phone calls we've been having for you ladies. So thank you. Yeah, a little bit about me. I grew up an avid baseball player, obsessed with playing the game, had an older big brother, always pushed me to be a little bit better, which is fun and also not so fun for people who have brothers out there and know what that's like. But yeah, my father's a neurosurgeon in Los Angeles. That's where I grew up. I grew up around spine and the world of spine and going to the hospital with him, doing rounds on Saturdays and meeting nurses. So I kind of became integrated in the world really young, although it wasn't really my first passion. I was really passionate, obviously, about baseball, but also about filmmaking. So I played baseball at Yale and did some filmmaking. It was a really great time for a couple of years. Probably could have done a little bit better on the grades, but another conversation. I couldn't do the kind of individual work that came with working at a talent agency, which is where I worked. And I really missed team camaraderie and competitive goals as a collective. And so that really drew me into the medical device distribution world. Well, I worked for DePuy Synthes for a number of years, and then I started my own distributorship. And so here I am. I kind of traveled between Las Vegas and Los Angeles, covering doctors and spine. And yeah, here we are, 2025.
Wow.
I love it. Fun life. And we both know how hard that life really is. You know, it's long hours, it's late nights, it's weekends, it's not all glitz and glamour. And I really want to dive right in to this post, Avery, that you put on LinkedIn a couple of months ago. Really caught my eye. I think a lot of times, Cindy and I talk about this a lot, but it's really important in the medical device arena that you are not just another sales rep trying to make a buck. You are a consultant, you are a partner, and the physicians and the staff are relying on you to not only know your products inside and out, but to be honest and to be truthful and to speak up when things don't look right. So if you will you please read that post for our listeners? Because I'm sure that a lot of them have not read it yet or seen it, and I really want them to hear it.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to. We'll just do a little story time, post story time. So the post starts out, it says, "I'll never forget the look the surgeon gave me. It wasn't anger. It wasn't panic. It was that quiet, calculating pause, like he was realizing how close we'd just come, like he was thinking, good thing someone spoke up. And the truth is, I almost didn't. We were in the OR for a lumbar case, cold room, steel trays under harsh lights, top 100 playing low in the background, the faint smell of iodine in the air. We counted the levels on the X-ray, standard process, but visualization was tough. Things looked fuzzy. Steps were progressing. Everyone in the room was good to go, but something felt off. I stared at the monitor. Something about the count just didn't sit right. I took another look and I thought that might not be the right level. But everyone else was confident. The tech had confirmed, the PA had nodded, and I could feel the pressure creeping in. What if I'm wrong? What if I speak up and waste time? What if I just don't say anything? But here's the question I keep coming back to. What if I don't say something and I'm right? So I spoke. Just, can we double check that level one more time? It got quiet. He looked, paused, took another X-ray and adjusted. No one said anything. We kept going, but the tension shifted. It was a close call. And that look he gave me, it was him doing the math, realizing how close we'd come to doing the wrong level. Here's what stuck with me. Worst case, I was wrong and we took an extra 30 seconds to be sure. Best case, we avoided a mistake that could have been a big problem. Your job isn't to be right all the time. It's to care enough to say something when it matters.
Wow, that is very impactful and very eloquent writer as well. Because when you talk about the cold trace, like you just described in the OR, I can feel it, I can smell it. And I mean, just listening to you read that, so many of our listeners out there are those people standing there. And that tight feeling you get in your chest, the weight you feel of, do I say something? Do I not? Is what separates this field from others. And that is the decisions we make each day can impact the life of the patient on the table. And I think that you really spoke up very well and you wrote about it. And I think it's very important that we all know that we're all going to be uncomfortable sometimes. We're all going to be in a situation like that. But to be able to be brave enough to speak up is just very commendable. So I'm very glad you wrote that and shared that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, I second everything you said. It's a weird feeling, right? Because you're like, there's like this self-conscious weight on your shoulders of like, well, I don't want to draw attention to myself. I don't want to be the one that called something out, but turns out it was totally fine. But the risk versus the reward on that is you have to say something.
Yeah, that is integrity, Avery. That's strong integrity there. And that's also trusting your gut. And Cindy and I talk about that. It takes a level of self-awareness. It takes a level of emotional intelligence, of knowledge, of integrity, but also being humble. I mean, this job, it really, I don't even think it matters what you're selling or what company you work for, whether you own the company or you're a sales rep or you're a director, you are impacting patients' lives every day. And I think it's so important that people that are in this arena remind themselves of that every morning when they get up. We have to be so thankful for our jobs because they give us wonderful opportunities with working with brilliant surgeons and impacting patients' lives, but we're impacting patients' lives. And one day that might be us, that might be our parents, that might be our spouse, our children. And it is so important that you stay above all of it. You're not looking for the paycheck. You're not looking for the commission. You're looking to do the right thing by the patient and of course by your surgeons as well. And so I really loved that post because I loved the fact that you put it out there, Avery. Not a lot of people are willing to say that kind of stuff and be open and honest and say, hey, this happened to me. This is what I just went through and I want to write about it so you can learn about it. And that's really something that spoke to Cindy and I, because that's all we want to do is help everyone out there every day to get better and better, more successful. And I just really appreciate that post. I mean, you write a lot of amazing posts, but that one really spoke to me.
Thank you. It means a lot. I really appreciate that. It's such an interesting dynamic. And, it just happens as when you think about when your first couple of days in the OR, that doesn't even cross your mind to speak up in a scenario like that. But it happens progressively. And I think it's so important, right? Like the 6 months I started in this industry, I felt totally useless and hopeless because there's such a big, like you're drinking from a fire hose. But I think it's so important to kind of just know that if you just stay grounded and stay focused and really focus on the knowledge, clinical knowledge and product knowledge and pair those together, then you kind of get to feel those moments where you're like, oh, I should say something, right? Do you feel like that's kind of been the case for both of you as well?
Absolutely. I was going to ask you, did the surgeon say anything after the case? Or did anybody say anything after the case to you? Or was it an undercurrent maybe?
I think there's this particular surgeon is kind of like he's very like low key, he's very calm, and he kind of just gave me like a fist bump and like like
Yep, that's
I
all
get
you
those
need.
all the time, but I kind of got it. And I was like, yes, just
Well,
those small moments of acknowledgement are like, we don't get that many thank yous, not that we need it or anything
We
like
don't.
that.
It's
But
okay.
we'll take it. We'll take it.
we take thank yous in body language and sign language too. That's perfectly fine. But you didn't do it for the accolades. You said it. You cared enough. And, I think I also want to point out something in what you wrote. And you explained that in that scenario, you simply said, can we just double check this? So I think it's very important that people understand it's not always what you say, but it's how you say it. And it sounded like you approached that as just a very caring, let's double check, let's make sure we are in the right lumbar number. Otherwise, it could be a problem. And I also like how you just described, yep. And then they moved on. Everybody went about their day, because that's kind of how it should be. You're focusing on at the moment. Afterwards, fist bumps, awesome. But you now know, again, when you get that feeling, it's like, it's crazy. It's like pushing you. It's a feeling that you're like, I need to say something. I need to say something. That I think if anybody has that voice in their head enough just to calmly address it, otherwise it could be catastrophe.
Yeah. And I mean, you're going to gain so much knowledge about yourself in that scenario, because that's one time that you've decided, hey, I felt something. I feel like I can recognize that feeling again. And then I can repeat that and continue to kind of be like, okay, this is what it feels like when something's wrong. And I don't know what it might not even be immediate that you know what it is, but you can work through it and then you can speak up once you identify it. But it makes you look a little closer, I think. You feel like that's happened to you too?
Absolutely. That's great self-awareness, by the way. And it's funny, sometimes I don't even think we realize that's what's happening, but that's how you grow. That's how you become more respected. And when I asked you the question of did the surgeon say anything, I actually wasn't expecting for that person to have said anything at all. But it's like the flip side of that is, what if you hadn't spoken up? What if you allowed it to happen, knowing that it wasn't the right thing? And now the catastrophic events that follow afterwards are so much more damaging. So, I think sometimes people want to get those attaboys. I don't actually think in medical sales that's what you need to be going after, are the attaboys. Sure, getting up on President's Club, there's your attaboy. Great, good. But it's in those cases that are the unspoken thank yous, that are the quiet, and you keep on going, that you did the right thing, because the flip side of that is so awful and is so ugly and could have really been bad. And so I hope that people listening are just kind of thinking about maybe an event that happened to them themselves where they did speak up and they did the right thing, and you just don't expect anything in return because you're doing your job. That's why we hired you, is to be that person. And that's why you have the job that you have. And that's why tomorrow you're going to get another call from that same surgeon, because that's the level that they expect of you. It's not that you're going to get the attaboys and the thank you so much and all that. No. But if you're going into it expecting that, then you're in the wrong business. I mean, we're doing this for patients.
Lisa, I think you just said the unspoken thank you. Now we have another case for you.
You're
your
exactly
thank
right.
you is you can come back into the OR.
Yeah.
You're allowed back. Exactly. Yeah. No, that's brilliantly said. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. It's hard, right? Because you don't get a lot of thank yous when you start. You basically are just trailing somebody and trying to learn as much as you can. There's so much competition that you're focusing on when you're younger and you're like, or kind of new into the game, and you're kind of, the competitor's here and we want to get this business. And you kind of get your first assignment of like, hey, this is your guy and just want you to get this business. And it's so easy to kind of lose sight of that, but you really just need to be in competition with yourself, if that makes sense. Did I do what I was supposed to do? And could I have done it better? And stop worrying about even the surgeon to that point. And I know that sounds not right, but it's like, hey, the surgeon might have gotten upset, but did you do everything that you could have done in this particular scenario? Yes or no? It's hard to lose sight of that, even when surgeons are upset or when the numbers aren't right or when the competitor gets a case that would have been your case. But I try to, because for a long time, I struggled with being like, I let it beat me up all the time. It was like, this guy got this case, it was my case, or this surgeon wasn't happy in it. He was just having a bad day. His wife was upset about him not taking out the trash or something. I don't know. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. That is awesome, because I was just going to ask you, at what point did you just switch, or did you just realize, you know what, I've got to stop beating myself up and kind of look at the grand scheme of things and realize if I only compete with myself, I can only make myself better?
I had a major health issue change my life pretty much in 2021. I got one of the first COVID shots, and within 24 hours, my colon ruptured. It adhered to my
God.
And so I had to have 1 foot of my colon resected the next morning. It was like an emergent scenario. I thought I was going to have a colectomy bag. I was like, oh God, I'm going to be like 31 years old with a colectomy bag. but it was just induced with such a high stress environment. And all of those things were self-inflicted. Everything
Wow.
around, I was always worried about my surgeons, and I was always worried about competitors, and I was worried constantly, like
Wow, Avery.
at night and worrying about, and then I just kind of realized like all of this stuff is out of my control. There's only so much, especially in this field. Even if you're 100% fully dialed in for a case, things are going to go wrong. And yeah, you know what? You might even get blamed for all of it. And at the end of the day, it's like, you got to just wipe your shoulders off, get back up and go for it. But that really changed my life, because I was like, you know what? I
Oh
can't
my
control
gosh.
any of this stuff. I'm going to put my best foot forward in the things that I know that I can do. I'm going to focus on kind of my intuition and how I feel about certain things, and just focus on the doctors, honestly, that I enjoy working with, because there were some that I didn't. I let those relationships kind of dissipate, and that's another thing I learned, is you don't have to go after every doctor, honestly. If you don't like them and it doesn't add to your day, I mean, you're still working with that person. Maybe this is like, a lot of people don't agree with some of the things I say, but that is one I think is something I hold close. I don't want to work with people I don't like.
Hey,
That
that
is
puts it in
such,
perspective.
it really does. Not to sweat the small stuff, because they turn into such big things, and to be able to focus on what's important. And I think it's so great to be in a position where you can put boundaries up and be around those that only you can get something out of and make you feel better. And I'm sure when you work with these doctors you're choosing to work with, you've got to have a great relationship. And I'm sure you have good surgeries and good outcomes because it's a good working environment. But I'm sorry to hear you went through such a stressful,
I know. My gosh,
wow.
at such a young age. That's really scary. I'm proud of you for getting through it, being healthy. And, I hate to say that it brought such clarity to you, but wow. I mean, that wise beyond your years, Avery. A lot of us tend to chase that number and tend to just, sales, 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 sales. Like you said, you see your competition, you're angry at them for getting cases, you're mad, you're not nice. Life is short. And you saw that really early on. And I'm glad to see you're doing well now. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that. I'm really sorry.
I'm
But
like,
you,
it was like the best thing that could have happened to me. I mean, the worst and best thing that could have happened to me in that, because it's such a, I mean, it's just life changing. I lost a bunch of weight. It just really changes
yeah.
your perception of what you're doing with your life when you're sitting in the hospital and during COVID and nobody can come see you. You're
Oh
like,
My
what am
gosh,
I
your
no.
parents
doing?
must have been crazy. I would have been nuts. I would have been going nutty if that was Brady. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, my mom was freaking out a little bit, but my dad was just like the doctor, and him's like, yeah, so what's his white blood cell? Oh, you're good. All right, we're good.
Of course he was. Sounds like my dad. My dad's a doctor too. He'd been like, so Lisa, telling this is what we're gonna expect. You're like, you gotta love him for that though, right? Like they're
Oh, I
so
love it.
scientific and like, I just need a little normalness now. I don't need sterile white. Thank you. But
So fun.
okay. So that explains actually, honestly, okay, everybody listening right now, you need to look up, okay, pull over to the side of the road if you're listening to us in the car, and you need to look up Avery Lanman on LinkedIn, LANMAN, because every post you post, Avery, is so well written and so freaking good. I'm like, damn, he just hit another one on the head. You guys, now I know. I'm like, no wonder this guy's amazing. He's a writer. He's in film. He went through a life-changing event. But like everything that you write about is so profound and good. And I was going to ask, how often do you see yourself before this event and other reps chasing the number, chasing these docs, hating their competition, not appreciating what they have? I mean, do you see this? I'm assuming you probably see this a lot. And what do you say to those reps? I mean, what
Yeah,
would
I
you
do
say
see
to them?
it a lot. I wrote recently about a story of one rep that, we compete in the same account. And to this day, he won't look up at me or say hi to me because one particular doctor, I hope he listens to this. One
What's his
particular
name? Not
doctor.
kidding.
Right.
Yeah. One particular doctor I've been calling for about a year. And that's another thing too I want to talk about is like, this isn't sales for like software, as you guys know. It's like, it doesn't take like a week to get a doctor. I've been calling on this doctor for like about a year, and I finally got a couple of cases one week. And this rep, like I turned the corner and I could just see he was fuming. He was so upset about it. And he confronted me. He's like, why are you trying to take my business? And I had to basically just be like, I would get a beer with you like any day. You're awesome, man. But you don't think that I'm going to try to come after every opportunity that I can in this account you're crazy. You're out of your mind. But I'm still cordial with you. I think you're great. It's not personal at all. And I'd expect you to be doing the same, is what I said. So I guess my message is, if you're not looking up and saying hello to your competitors or shaking their hand, you're taking this job too seriously. It's like, be a human at the ground level, say hi to people, their hand, chat with them. You both are going to be waiting, have some downtime, eyeing each other from the end of the hallway or whatever, right? Once I took that out of my head and I just was like, I can chat with these people. We have common ground. And I've made so many friends that way. And I just can't, I personally, it's a pet peeve of mine. I just can't really understand the whole like competitive, not say anything to anybody. I'm going to go down the hallway. I'm going to get my business. So I would say lighten up and enjoy your life a little bit more. And you never know. Maybe your company merges and you end up working with that person. And they remember, yeah, honestly, that guy's not so great to work with, or that gal was just a little cold shoulder to me. People remember that stuff.
They absolutely do. What comes around goes around. That's exactly what I was going to say, because you see it so often. And you're right. I mean, the crazy thing is he's so worried about how you react, yet you're just there to do your job. And I think that that's something else to focus on, is like, what are you there to do? You're there to help the surgeon, help this patient. And if somebody doesn't want to speak to you, or if you're afraid that they're going to look the other way or make a look, who cares? Yeah. Who cares? At the end of the day, you've done what you were supposed to do. And I think that's really, really important.
Okay, so, I'm going to be honest here. I'm totally that rep though, you guys. Like, I felt after I read Avery's thing, I was like, oh my God, I'm so that rep. I've got to be nicer to people. And like literally, like people are like, they probably think I'm like a big B. I've gotten better. I will say, Avery, I've gotten better. But in the beginning, I took my job so seriously. I was like, I will come after you if you like even look at my doctor wrong, I will stab you. No, I'm kidding. I've gotten better at it. But it's a hard thing, right? Because, and I will say this, as women, as females, it's like, man, there's like this deep-seated competition within women that like when you climb to the top, when you get to that place, you don't want to lose it. And so you automatically, I think your response is just prickers up. Nobody's going to touch me. Like, I'm not going to be nice to anybody. And I want all the women out there right now to hear that you don't have to be that way. Cindy, you're not that way. I don't really see you as that way. I am.
No, I'm friends with my competitors.
I'm working. See, I'm working on myself. I'm working on myself. But you don't have to be that way all the time. You just don't have to be so ugly. So I'm working on that. So thank you.
Look, I don't think that you necessarily have to be buddy with them either. I think it's just, hey, you could say hello, right? Yeah. You've seen it. It's like head down. You know that you saw each other. There's one hallway. You're both going in one direction, but still, it's like, where do I look now? Do I just,
It's like high school awkward ages all over again.
High school, dude. It's so high school.
It is. It's like you got your backpack and you're just like, oh God.
No, and now it's the phones. You're like, I'm looking at my phone even though I see you.
Oh, I'm really busy.
Oh, I got all this business. They're calling me. I got to go. I'm so important.
Oh my God, it's so bad.
I know. So I love talking about all the great things that we can do. So I do have a question for you though, as far as like thinking of other reps. So we're talking about competition and that it's nice to be nice, let things go, lighten up. But what would you say is a big mistake that you see reps make that may not, I mean, I know we just talked about not being nice. It could come back to kick you in the behind if that ever happens. But when you're in the OR, and I think about your post, how you spoke up and you spoke up well. What would you say is a mistake early on? You were talking about maybe in your first 6 months, you're uncomfortable, the whole first year. What is something that you see or have seen if a rep tries to just make a quick fix of something? But what is a mistake that you can make that you would say something to be aware of to prevent them from making a mistake?
Yeah, 100%. So I have two that really kind of stick out to me as you were asking that. Number one is, I drove trays around a lot. And then I realized, wait, what am I doing? I'm driving with all the information that I need in my vehicle and dropping it off at the hospital. And then thinking in my head, man, my whole day was just driving around and doing this. And I didn't learn anything. And I was like, wait, I need to take that upon myself. Or I have a tray in my car. Why don't I just pull up the surgical technique guide? It's been the first couple of weeks. I'm dropping it off somewhere. go through it, take pictures of it, make notes of it, understand it, play with everything, then drop it off. It's like you have those opportunities. And I started to realize later, I was like, man, I'm driving all around town with all the information I need to learn to be a better rep and to be better in the operating room. And I'm just thinking of like, man, this is so lame. All I do is drop off trays. This is dumb. And then I'm like, wait. And that's one thing I think with a big note is like, as much as you can take off the pressure of like your managers to be like overlooking you and like, hey, you should learn this and that and take it upon yourself, the better you're going to be. And you're going to become an asset a lot quicker. Because it's like, then that's how I started thinking about everything. How can I take this off of my surgeon's plate instead of being like, hey, would you like this or this? It's just like, hey, I've got these options. Let me know what you need. It's like, they're here. It's ready. Let me know how I can help you. That's one really big one, because after I did that, I created a curriculum for myself. And I said, hey, look, can we agree if I learn all of these systems and my senior rep is in the operating room with me and he sees that I do a good job with this, will you check this off? And I want to make commissions. I don't want to be on salary anymore if I can do this for all of the systems that I have on this curriculum, which I created myself. It's like a 16-week thing that I want to do. And he said, yes. And so I did it. It was like every week I would go, I'd drop the trays off. I'd look through the curriculum. I'd get into a case. I'd open the trays. I'd run the case, maybe some notes, some things I can improve. Did I get the stamp of approval from the senior rep? And then there was nothing that they could do when it came to the time. It was like, I know all the systems. You said that I could do this. Are we good? Can I make some, please?
I love that. Would you like to come work for us? Would you like to tell me, Nordic?
What a great self-advocate.
Oh my God.
I feel like it's so important though, right? Because I feel like I see that a lot. I see the kids in like just out of college rolling into the loading dock, pushing in trays, and I could see it on their face. And I'm like, I know it sucks, but take this 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever it does to go over this tray and take some pictures. It makes a huge difference.
I love that. And they're not just kids. Avery, there are people that are older that have been doing this job for years in medical devices and they're lazy and they don't want to learn. And they're like, I don't need to learn that. I got this. It doesn't matter how old, but you are talking about taking advantage of every opportunity that you are given, whether it's small or it's large, and making it like the best you can, taking the initiative, taking the time to do it. I mean, it takes energy. It takes a level of commitment, but it's so worth it because look how much further you got in your short amount of time of doing this. I mean, you own your own distributorship now and you are so much younger than we are.
Yeah.
It's all about taking full advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you. And that's exactly what you just talked about.
Absolutely. So the number one mistake is not to miss out on the opportunity to teach yourself and step in. So you said there were 2 mistakes that you were thinking?
Yeah, and I got a second one, which is something that I've really over the last, couple of years as I've kind of learned about competitors' products, but I give away business that I don't have the best product for. I tell my surgeons right off the bat, if I get a case and they're like, do you have cement? I'm like, I do, but it's not something that I would feel comfortable bringing in. DePuy has great cement and this is the name of it. I'll call the rep and have it for the case. Because it's much more valuable to get the call based on trust than to get the entire case and have something go wrong during that case. And it was like, it just didn't go that well. It's not that it's not that he's good. Oh yeah, Avery's a nice guy. It just wasn't as efficient as it could have been. And I started to kind of pick up those things where I was like, great, I want to own the case. I don't want any other reps in the room. I want this to be 100% mine. And I just started to realize like, this would just go so much smoother if we just called the DePuy rep and he brought in his deal and we just did that. It'd be so much better. And I just got in the habit of doing that. And honestly, it's done nothing but just gain trust points. And honestly, the most important thing, it's the best thing for the patient. Just do it.
Yeah.
It's like, do you really care about the extra couple $100? Please just call someone else in. They have a better product. Let them do it. Boom.
And something tells me the ROI on your other products just went up. Just went up because they build the trust that, okay, you may not have the best product for this patient, but I'm going to call you tomorrow because I know your product is good for this next patient.
You're a solution.
That's how you do this business.
You're providing solutions. They call you, Avery, and they know you're credible, you're honest, and you're going to give them a solution, even if it's not yours. And there are times when we are shown certain films and we know our product is not the best. And that is on us to tell the doctor, hey, I think this product is better suited for this patient. It's the right thing to do. And it buys you so much credibility. And those surgeons, they'll call you again. They'll probably call you the next day and say, hey, I got another one, and I think this one's perfect for your devices. That is
How
such
often,
great advice.
right? Like how often is when you do that, is the doctor just going to be like, oh, I'm no longer ever using your product again? You know, it's like,
Never.
that's,
That never happens. That never happens.
Nope.
That's your fear, right? That's your new fear of, oh, like I've got to sell everything in my bag, only my stuff. That's why there's competition, because not everything is suited for everybody, right? There's competition for a reason. And certain companies make things better than other companies. I love this one. This was a good one, Avery. Good job. Yeah.
thank you.
Absolutely. I feel like we could sit here and talk for
I know.
hours.
I know.
I know this. You give great advice, especially
You
to
do.
people coming out. And I think it's so important, and love hearing about your success.
Tell us about
Go-
your newsletter really quick.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
The operating line. I mean, hello, you're such a writer. Like, that's so great. I love
Great
the
title.
Thank you.
But tell
Thank
us
you
about
so
it.
much. Yeah. So honestly, it's been a little bit of a journey in writing the newsletter. I'm actually working on an educational email series instead of like just like a monthly digest of what my thoughts are, because I'm kind of feeling like, oh, I don't want this to be too similar to my LinkedIn posts. So I'm working on one right now. It's called the Spine Manufacturer's Advantage. And it's just about how to approach distributors or spine salespeople as a manufacturer, like a RSM, to kind of educate a little bit past the kind of DMs that you might get on LinkedIn, which is like, hey, I'd love to work with you and your doctors. Why don't you just give me a call and we'll just talk? And you're like, I just can't keep getting those messages. I don't know. It's like in my brain. So that's what to expect next, I guess, from the newsletter is I'm going to go straight into an educational email series. But don't worry, there will be ones for reps and things as well. But I felt like this one was one that really could help a lot of really talented and really good people that are trying to kind of grow their business. And they have the right intentions, but maybe just aren't approaching distributors or reps the right way. So I'm hoping it helps.
That.
Very valuable. You bring a lot of value. So for somebody who writes as well as you do, what do you like to read? Do you have any famous, not famous, but are there authors? Are there leadership? Are there books that you've read that you find inspiring? Do you have a favorite book?
Yeah. I mean, I personally, I really love Stoic philosophy. So Meditations by Marcus Aurelius is like top of the line. I'm really into Roman history. I'm really into kind of the minds. Like if you think about it, it's like these ideas have been instilled in society for thousands and thousands of years. And there's so much to learn from that, but it keeps me grounded and it keeps me focused. But yeah, I always come back to that book. I mean, you never step in the same river twice, right? I always gain something from that. I've read it like 14 times probably.
I love that.
I
That's
love
great. We can put
that.
that in our show notes for anybody that's listening that
Oh
wants
my
to do
gosh.
that.
Yeah.
But I mean, my gosh, talk about grounded, going from competitive baseball player to a Yale graduate, a writer, a filmmaker. You're now in your career of owning your own distributorship. It's so commendable. And I think that you have given some very valuable human grounded information for a lot of reps out there. And I just can't thank you enough for spending this time speaking with us today. We are so happy to have you. And we can't wait to keep reading what you write.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I love all of your posts, Avery. Keep writing. And maybe you'll do like a little quick course on how to create content, because I'll be your first member. This is how you really how to write.
No, thank you so much
been
for having me. It's been really great. I really love your energy and everything you're doing for the community. It's so valuable. And it's just great. I have a little sister who struggles with confidence sometimes. And you ladies are like just fantastic to see. You just so much like power and so much success. And it's so great to see. And McCall, my sister, follow these ladies if you see their post.
You
Tell
got
her
this,
she's got
McCall.
it. Tell her she's got it. She's got it.
Oh, thank you.
Avery, thank
Thank
you
you
so
very
much.
much.
Thank you. It's great. Bye.